Know yourself. Like I said earlier, no one else really knows us, and we really don't know what other people are thinking. But it doesn't matter if we know ourselves. If we know that we are putting ourselves best foot forward in our path and in our measure of existence, then we know we are doing our best. And it doesn't matter what anybody else is doing or what anybody else cares about. We know that we do what we love. And I'm not just talking to those who have aspirations of going out in any particular field. And I'm not talking just to people who have that burning desire to start a quilting business or any number of other things. Those are awesome. Do it. Go for it. I'm also talking to the people who just love creating a beautiful environment for their family. I'm also talking to the people who want to get up every morning, do a good job at work so that they have earned a fair wage, and then go do things with their lives. Every one of us has a specific purpose. And every one of us has something that we care about and we sort of have a corner in the market on. Love it and embrace it. So once you've taken the time to come to know yourself a little bit better, I would now invite you to understand yourself a little bit as well. Okay, I realize I've already shared some seriously heavy secrets here, but it's time for another one. I was having an interaction with two individuals a couple days ago. And I had been taught by a counselor how to do this thing called HEALS. Absolutely love it. HEALS stands for halt, explain to yourself what's going on and what the lie is in the situation, then access the truth, love yourself, and solve the problem. And so I was feeling kind of rotten after this interaction, and I couldn't figure out why. And I was judging them and judging myself and feeling like I was coming up short and just feeling, is that the story that I want to tell? That's a question, isn't it? Yeah, it is. So I was feeling rotten about them and rotten about myself and all around epically confused and frustrated. And I couldn't figure out why. I had had open communication with everyone involved before this. I was putting my best foot forward and I was really trying. And it just didn't make sense. And so I was journaling about it and thinking about it and praying about it and trying to figure out how to make it work and what to do with it. And this is the sentence that came to mind. Okay. What emotion did you connect to the observation? So I had to pause, and instead of thinking about the situation as a whole, and instead of thinking about it as this thing happened, so I feel this way, I paused. And I asked myself, what happened? How did I feel about what happened? And what value did I assign to that thought? And I realized that, so I kind of rewound the situation and I thought about it each step along the way. And I had this engagement with them. They did not take my suggestion and did not take my idea. And after that happened, I then went, they must not care about my opinion because they did not take my suggestion. And so then I said, that must mean that what I say and what I think doesn't matter. And then I realized I had taken it one step further. If what I said and what I think doesn't matter, then I must not matter. And so even though it was an interaction with people that are a couple steps back from me and just sort of come into my sphere occasionally, I had let an interaction where I didn't know what they were thinking, what they were feeling, where they were coming from, then all of a sudden hip hop, skip and a jump to I must not matter. And I would lay a guess, ladies and gentlemen, that every one of us does this same thing from time to time. I would guess that we have interactions with people. Something doesn't go quite the way that we thought it would, or doesn't go quite it doesn't go according to our plan. And we take that thought and then we jump to my voice doesn't matter. We jump to they must hate me. We jump to what I care about really isn't all that great. And part of understanding ourselves is understanding our feelings and understand what's going on in our mind. Our brain is trained to go to the absolute worst case scenario. It just is. It's just how it works. And it comes from years of survival mode. It comes from years of protecting ourselves. And to protect ourselves, our brain goes to start here. This must unequivocally mean this thing, which is the worst possible case scenario. Nobody likes me, everybody hates me, I'm going to go eat worms, is one possible worst case scenario. And so in order to understand ourselves and understand our feelings, we must take time and ask ourselves, what emotion did you connect to the observation? And so instead of taking situations at face value, I invite you to exercise the pause. So when something is going a little bit crazy, when something feels like it's going out of control, or you've jumped to this worst case scenario, or you just feel icky and you have no idea why. That's typically what happens to me. I just end the day or end a situation and I just kind of feel gross. And our tendencies as human beings is to look out and blame out. But I would invite you to pause, look in, and see what you thought. Play what happened frame by frame and see what you were thinking as stuff happened. Because what you were thinking then gets emotions attached to it. And then you start going sort of down the slippery slope of this is how it has to be. Emotions are real. That doesn't mean they're true. And so I would invite you to pause, take a look at what was going on, and then see if something else could be true and see what your worst case scenario was. And it's only once you understand what the worst case scenario is that you can then start backing up and saying, okay, what else could be true? How do I support myself in how I'm feeling? Don't deny what you're feeling. Don't tell yourself that you're wrong. Just tell yourself, I love myself. Now let's problem solve. And one of the ways that we problem solve is by loving ourselves. Every person on the face of the planet wants to feel loved and appreciated. And I would guess that pretty much every person on the face of the planet really doesn't like being lectured and really doesn't like being beaten up. So why is it that when we're frustrated with ourselves or when we think that we're doing something wrong, we automatically lecture ourselves and beat ourselves up? That is no way to move forward because you're always cringing and you're always afraid of messing up. And I had an interesting moment with this a while ago. And I want to start by asking you a question. Can you love and accept yourself even when you don't give the right answers? Now you might be going, what exactly does that mean? So for those of you who know me well, and even then you might not know this because I try and hide it really well, I set very high standards for myself, and generally in the past have only found peace of mind if I can come to what I feel are right answers based on my culture, my religion, and my relationship with God. And I've lived an entire life that way. An entire life of I need to be able to do things a certain way for me to have confidence and for me to have peace. And I told you I've been learning a whole lot in just the last few weeks. So this is like a week ago. And